What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with your DFS preview for this week's Mayakoba Classic. Coming to you from the new office, which looks like a holding cell, but it is not. I'll get some art on the wall soon. Should sound a lot better. Better acoustics in here, faster internet. That's the stuff that matters. We'll get it looking nicer in the future. All right, this week, Mayakoba Golf Classic, Matt Kuchar, your defending champion. But before we get into that, I've got winners. It's been 2 weeks since we've had a video, so here are the winners from last time for a week subscription to DFS On Demand. That's my site. That's all the tools that you see in the videos. We've got Rockies B888 and Jay Sully 2121. I'll reach out if I have your contact information. If not, reach out to me. If you would like to win a week subscription to DFS On Demand, join our Slack channel. 2 ways to do so. You can make sure you're subscribed to this video, like the video, or subscribe to the channel, like the video. Leave a comment below and tell me which golfer over $10,000 you will be fading this week. The other way, audio podcast, iTunes, leave a 5-star review. Say something nice about the show. Leave me your Twitter handle, and that will get you entered as well. Much easier to win that one. All right. Par 71, 6,987 yards. Matt Kuchar stiffed his caddy last year as the defending champion. We all know that story. It's Paspalum Green, so expect them to be slower than normal because this is a coastal course. Can't make the greens too fast or else you lose control of the greens if the wind starts to kick up. So bad putters are back in play. And I think that's all we need to cover before we go into the cheat sheet. So let's do it. Picks. Let's go. All right, 5 guys over $10,000 led by the defending champion, 11,400 Matt Kuchar, who, if you're looking at the cheat sheet right now, I got a few guys that my data feed isn't coming over on. So it's like 4 or 5 guys in this field that the strokes gained data isn't showing up on the cheat sheet. That is something I will hopefully correct either by the time you see this or some point tonight. So hopefully you won't see that much longer. But the rest of the data looks absolutely correct here. So Matt Kuchar, your defending champion. There is a little bit of a concern about Matt Kuchar. A lot of it is narrative based. It's based on the fact that he might not be going back to such a friendly place after, he severely underpaid his caddy last year. That turned into a whole big thing. He tried to make right for it, but it felt like that lingered around Kuchar for quite some time. But I'm not a big narrative guy. The reason I'm not thrilled about Kuchar is actually more statistical based. So we haven't seen Kuchar play yet this year. This is going to be his season opener, and in the last 4 years of season openers, it's been a little bit of a slow start for Kuch. So T57 at Shriners last year, T31 at the WGC in 2018, missed the cut at Safeway, and then a T68 here in 2016 at Mayakoba when this was his first start of the year. So that's something I do like to look at because, some guys take time off in the off season. Some guys play straight. They go to the Euro Tour, play straight through after the Tour Championship. And, some guys are fast starters. Someone like Justin Thomas, super fast starter. He's won his first start of the year before. Kuchar seems to take about a tournament or two to knock the rust off. So that's what I'm a little bit concerned about. And just the fact that, there's better options here. Victor Hovland at 11,200. This is a course that we'll get to the key stats, but driving accuracy is a correlator, or players that drive the ball accurately is a correlator. So that is right up Victor Hovland's alley. He's just does everything so well. I think Finau's interesting. So Finau at 10,600. I think you're only getting this price because of the really bad swing that he had in Asia. So if I pull up his player profile here really quickly, and let's go see what Tony Finau's been up to. There's Tony. Oh, nice headshot. Nice big smile there. Okay. 59th at the Zozo, 53rd at the WGC. Very uninspiring. But previous to that, a really good run down the stretch. Last year, 4th at the BMW, 7th at the Tour Championship, played well at the Shriners this year. He played a lot on the Euro Tour in the PGA Tour offseason. And he's only got 3 starts here at Mayakoba, 16th place last year. He missed the cut, and then he had a 7th place finish. So 2 top 15 finishes. This to me just feels like a price that you're only getting because he has had this bad Asian swing. If he competed in any of those events, he might be the second highest priced golfer on this slate. So I think you're getting a pretty good price on Finau. But really couldn't blame you if you wanted to start your lineups down here in the nines. And Joaquin Niemann, $9,800, your winner at the Greenbrier this year, really coming into his own. Has only played here at Mayakoba once. He did make the cut, but finished in 60th. And this is just the guy that, played well in Asia, 36th, or I'm sorry, let me see here. 8th at the Zozo, is that right? Oh, sorry, I was reading the line below him, Charles Howe. 33rd at the Zozo, 12th at the CJ Cup. That's just fine and dandy. We're going to talk about birdie makers and having the need to, 20 under par might win this thing. So you're going to need to be able to make some birdies. Joaquin Niemann's certainly capable of making a lot of birdies. Abraham Answer here at 92. This feels like the ultimate trap. And even when you look at his betting odds, he's 30-1, and I would tell you that's the shortest odds that Abraham Answer has been in quite some time, even just this season. 100-1 at the WGC, 100-1 at the Zozo, 60-1 at CJ Cup, 60 at Shriners, 50 at Safeway. So now you're paying this price because he comes off a fourth place finish at the WGC, and he has that big narrative of going back to his home country, going back to Mexico. Just feels like you're paying a little bit of a premium just based on that aspect of it. Certainly not going to get my dollars this week in any significant fashion. But here's really where we start to get into a lot of these interesting guys here. So Lanto Griffin, 9,000. Let's go pull up Lanto on the... Here we go. That was easy. On the player profile here. And it's 6 starts for Lanto this season, 6 top 18 finishes. No worse than an 18th place finish, including the win in Houston. And if you're watching on the video version of this, all you're seeing is green. The guy gained strokes in almost every category, every round. Super solid. I mean, he's just a really strong player. I feel like that he's going overlooked. He checks in at what, $9,000 this week? Yeah, not an even 9,000. He's right below Scotty Scheffler. He is right above Emiliano Grillo. Probably goes pretty under-owned here. I just feel like he's not a sexy guy. A lot of people will forget about him, but he's been one of the safer DFS options over the course of the last, 7 or 8 weeks, going back to the start of this actual PGA Tour season. Right below him, I mentioned Grillo. He is not a guy I play on a regular basis, and I really want to play him this week. And I really don't know, because he's going to be uber chalk, and I feel like if it's the week that I'm going to play Grillo, I probably should not play him when he's uber chalk. But no worse than a 15th place finish in his last 3 starts here, 15th, 9th, and 10th. And he's just an absolute elite ball striker. He is a terrible putter, but this goes back to the narrative or the idea that on these really slow paspalum greens, and I say slow by PGA standards. I mean, you and I would still be in big trouble on these greens, but slow by PGA standards, that tends to even the playing field a little bit. So the bad putters aren't as bad, a little harder to 3-putt, which makes sense, right? Because super fast greens, any fraction that you're off just gets amplified on super fast greens. So this helps out the bad putters a little bit. And Grillo is certainly that. $8,900. He will be in probably everyone's lineup. I would love to play him. I guess I'm a little concerned about Grillo chalk week. So let me know what you think about that. Maybe you can help me decide on that one right there. Continuing down the cheat sheet here, JT Poston continues to be interesting. He is $8,200. Last 3 years, he's been just fine. 21st, 13th, and 35th. Sorry, that's the last 3 times he's played it, I believe. He's playing well now as well. 27th at the Zozo, 11th at the Sanderson Farms. That's a pretty good stretch of golf for him. I guess the only concern, he actually is a pretty decent putter. These stats are a little bit longer term, but he's a pretty decent putter, which could be negated a bit this week. In the theme of guys I don't normally play, let's pull up Harold Varner III here. Let me see if I can find him really quickly. Yeah, here's Harold. I don't usually play him, to be quite frank. Last time we saw him in contention, of course, it was at the PGA Championship, and he was in the final group with Brooks Koepka. So I don't blame him for crumbling, but he crumbled. He shot an 81, which was the worst round out on the course that day. But he's got 4 top 25s in his last 5 starts. He played just fine in Asia, racking up basically 2 top 25 finishes. But what really has me excited is he has sandwiched a missed cut in Mexico with a 6th place and a 5th place finish. So really good upside here in Mexico. So this might be a course that fits the type of player that Harold Varner III is, and he's not playing too poorly at the moment. So when you're $7,900 and you're trying to find somebody to play down here, that seems like a pretty good spot. I want to get over to the key stats here, but before I do, quickly on Harry Higgs. So I don't have it in here. I'll have to throw it in here. The Bermuda championship, which was an alternate event, he finished second in. That's the one that Brendan Todd just kind of ran away with it. And quite frankly, that is to no fault of Harry Higgs. He went out and he shot 4 really good rounds, and Brendan Todd shot the round of his life, literally the best round he's ever fired in 500 rounds on the PGA Tour, and kind of just stole it from him. And Harry Higgs was sitting there thinking he had this thing in the bag, and someone came up and got him, but he's still playing really good golf. He's going to be more volatile. I was on with Pat Mayo. We recorded a little bit earlier, and one of the things that I had mentioned is Higgs's results are going to be super volatile, and as long as you're aware of that, I think he's okay to play. Just be aware. And then further down the list, I don't mind Tringale here. I don't mind Brendan Todd here coming off of that win. You're getting into prices that are really, really low. I don't mind Doc Redman at 7,100, Xinjun Zhang at 73. And I think there was one more guy in the 6s that I liked. Let's see. Before I go, I mean, the key stats usually unveils a little bit of value, so that's why I like to go for that. I don't think I'd play him, but Duffner did have, I believe, the low round of the week last year. I think it came on Sunday, fired something really low, tried to make his way up the leaderboard, but he's been in really bad shape recently. So let's go over to the key stats and talk this through. If you've never seen this, shame on you, but this is my regression model that we compare all the PGA Tour statistics to the results of each tournament on the PGA Tour, and we compare them against one another. And this does not necessarily say, so I'll give you an example. Driving accuracy is a very important stat this week. That does not mean the rough here at El Chameleon is penal and that you have to hit the fairway, because that's probably not true. This is a resort course. The rough is probably a nothing burger. But what it means is that players who tend to be towards the top of the leaderboard in driving accuracy tend to find success at Mayakoba. What my model does is it basically builds profiles of golfers that have had success here. So that's what you're seeing. And for example, the lowest ranked stat of the common stats is strokes gained around the green. It ranks 43rd out of 50 courses. Basically saying, if you have to take advantage of your around the green game, you're in big trouble here, right? That kind of makes sense because you're going to probably need to shoot 20 under par. So the guys that are super good around the green might not be finding that all that much success here. So that's what that's going with. So the 3 most important are basically driving accuracy, strokes gained tee to green, and birdie or better. Okay, those are the 3 that came out of the model. So let's go through those. Let's go through driving accuracy to start. Ches Reavie, who has been in the midst of a terrible run of golf, is $8,500, and you can get him at a really low price, really low ownership if you think he can turn this around, because he is the best on tour in driving accuracy. Long term, his stats are awesome. He's been on a bad run outside after the Tour Championship. He's been on a bad run, quite frankly, the start to this season. But if you think that he can kick it back into shape, this is probably a really good buy low opportunity. He's $8,500, and he really does fit the mold of the type of golfer that we would like this week. Additionally, for driving accuracy, Ryan Armour's here. Taylor Gooch is here, Andrew Landry, and Bryce Garnett. Now, Pat Mayo and I, when we chatted, we talked a lot through potentially Sony Open as being a corollary course. That's Waialae Country Club. And Pat really liked Armour there, and Bryce Garnett is a guy that's had success in both of these courses. There's very few courses where the same winners have won in each place. So like Kuchar has won in Mayakoba, and he's won in at the Sony Open. I think Bryce Garnett might have done it too. Like there's multiple guys that have done that, and that's pretty rare. So we tend to think those are correlated courses. Let's go back to strokes gained tee to green. This is, of course, just usually week in and week out my favorite stat. So Victor Hovland leads the way. He's 11,200. He laps the field here. The difference between him and Emiliano Grillo, who is second in this stat, is 7/10 of a stroke per round, which is basically the same difference between Emiliano Grillo, who is in second, and Tringale, Cameron Hickok, who's like 30th on this list. So Hovland really, really does lap the field, just bound for him to win one of these golf tournaments, I imagine, at some point. So then Grillo is, of course, second at 89. Our good buddy Kevin Streelman at 7,500. And then Tony Finau and Joaquin Niemann round out the top five. Ches Reavie's seventh on this list. Jonathan Vegas is 6,800. He's sixth on this list if you are looking for a little bit of value. And then I do want to look at birdie or better, and you'll see, this is where some of the plays that I'll make are coming from. So like this start right here, I don't know if you could get all three of these guys in a lineup that you actually liked, but Niemann, Brendan Todd, Victor Hovland is very interesting to me. I think Niemann will be very popular at $9,800, but I think that's fair. Hovland might not be. It's a really expensive price. We haven't seen him play in a while. It's possible that a lot of the 10K guys and over go pretty overlooked here. And then Brendan Todd, who I think a lot of people don't even realize he won a golf tournament the last time he played, which is probably good that he's just going to fly in here under the radar, playing really well, $7,200. Like, that's kind of interesting. Sebastian Munoz and Tom Hoge round out the top five here. Fun fact, I tweeted this out a little bit. I'm working on a new value matrix, which is to show you, average salary versus average returns of DraftKings points and what that average value is. Sebastian Munoz tends to be one of the most valuable players because he's always priced really, really low. He's actually $7,700 this week, I feel like, is one of his higher salaries. He's always priced really low. He always returns a decent bit on DraftKings. So he's one of the more valuable golfers. Now he's never really expensive. That is a tool I'm hoping to release maybe next week, maybe at some point this week. I'm just putting the finishing touches on it. I have the Slack channel testing it right now. So if you are in the Slack channel, you actually have access to it. That's where I release a lot of those tools beforehand, just to see if there's any bugs or to see if anybody has any last minute feedback. So if you are a member of DFS On Demand, you do get access to testing some of those tools out beforehand. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting little field for this week. I do want to just look at strokes gained approach real quick. I know we did tee to green, but just to see if there's anybody else on approaches that might be interesting. Similar guys: Hovland, Grillo, Reavie, Taylor Gooch, Davis Love III, Matt Kuchar. So really interested to see what the lineup construction is going to look like this week. I think there's a case to be made for fading the entire 10K and just making more balanced builds. There's like 50 guys under $7,000. It's kind of insane. So there's a lot to kind of sift through. So let me know who you're fading in that 10K range. That'll get you entered in a draw for DFS On Demand access. And that's about it, guys. Tweet me. It's at RickRunGood. Leave me a comment below. I will talk to you guys soon. Best of luck this week.